There's some celebrities that you grow up with that you just figure is always going to be around. They're kind of more than just an actor or more than just a singer or something. And the person we lost today is Paul Reubens, who most of you know as Pee Wee Herman. So let's talk about Pee Wee Herman and even look at some Pee Wee Herman toys. Welcome back to the Junk Room, everybody. It's me, the Junk Man, coming back at you with another video. And today, we're going to talk about a guy that sits behind me in every video, or almost every video, Pee Wee Herman, Paul Reubens. But we all know him best as Pee Wee Herman. Sure, he's played other characters. He's played the dad of the Penguin from Batman in Batman Returns, and I think Gotham, Batman television show. I think he was also on it. He was in Mystery Men. He was a great character in Mystery Men. And he was in other things. I remember he had a really funny character on 30 Rock. But I think we can all agree that when we think Paul Reubens, we think of his alter ego, Pee Wee Herman. Now again, like I said at the beginning of this video, it's just one of those celebrities or characters that you just always assume would always be around. It seemed like he was always in our life in some way. Even when he kind of disappeared into the 90s and you didn't really see him much, he was still there in the back of our head. People would say, hey, Pee Wee Herman, remember him? And of course, I'm not even going to get it out of the bag. Yeah, he has, what was it, late 80s, something, early 90s. He got caught, got arrested. We know about it. We're not here to talk about that. Now, a lot of you probably grew up on Pee Wee's Playhouse, and if you watched it, I can see why. But I'll be honest with you, I didn't really watch Pee Wee's Playhouse. I think it came out around 1988, 87, 88, somewhere around there. And by then I was really, I just wasn't really into watching Saturday morning cartoons and Pee Wee's Playhouse. It was a little bit more kiddie. Although I did see a couple episodes and I didn't have anything against it because I liked Pee Wee Herman. My first introduction really into Pee Wee Herman was actually, or I guess it was more Paul Reubens, was a Cheech and Chong movie. I think it was Nice Dreams. I'm just taking this off the top of my head. I know it wasn't Up in Smoke, the best Cheech and Chong movie. Remember when they played pirates? We won't talk about that. But he was in he played a waiter or something. I was not thinking about. Hold on just a second. Okay, I got mixed up there. I think the first movie I saw him in was Midnight Madness. I love this. A movie with Michael J. Fox. It had the Dr. Pepper guy that went on to get play a werewolf, an American Werewolf in London. But he played a waiter, I think, in this movie. I can't remember exactly what he played in this movie, but I remember he was in it. And I remember that's the first time I knew Paul Reubens. I think he worked at the Pinball City or something. But he was in a Cheech and Chong movie, so I saw him right around that same time. But I used to watch Midnight Madness all the time. I love that movie. So my first introduction, in a way, was not Pee Wee Herman. But then I would meet Pee Wee Herman on HBO. And it would come on late at night. It was more for adults. It was kind of like the Pee Wee Playhouse. It was more like on a stage, or maybe a live audience. And it was a little bit more risque, as they say. It was kind of odd because you watched it and you're like, okay, this thing seemed like it's for kids, but it's a little, some dirty jokes here and there. And for a kid, probably 12 or 11, I saw something with dirty jokes on it, man. It was shocking and edgy. So I was like, whoa, this is crazy. But then, like most of you, I saw Pee Wee's Big Adventure. And that's all it took to make me a Pee Wee Herman fan for life. What a great movie. Am I right? That movie still holds up today. I think it's Tim Burton's first movie. It's a great, funny movie. It's very easy to have this character Pee Wee Herman in a movie where it would end up getting on your nerves. Like, remember that movie Elf with Will Ferrell? I love that movie, but I try to watch it with my son, and about halfway through, I'm like, okay, this guy's getting on my nerves now. He's a little too stupid. But Pee Wee, you loved him so much, although he was a little, he could be a little dumb at times, but you loved him so much, just made the movie so good. He never got on your nerves. You never were like, oh, this guy's too much of an idiot. You were just like, it looks like somebody be fun to really hang out with. Wouldn't you have loved to hang out with Pee Wee Herman? And that movie, just so many other characters in that movie, besides Pee Wee Herman, is so great. Even Jan Hooks, who has a small role in that movie, most people still quote today, where they talk, now I forgot the quote, shit. Adobe. Remember she says Adobe? And Pee-wee's looking for the basement, the basement in the Alamo. I could just, would agree. But I figured, being that we kind of talk toys here, we don't always talk toys here, we talk toys here a lot, that we at least look at some Pee Wee Herman toys, because there was some. There was some Pee Wee Herman toys, not just in the 80s when we grew up, but even today there's Pee Wee Herman toys. So let's just, I'm not going to look at every little thing, but let's just talk about some of the most recent Pee Wee Herman toys. And the most recent is 2021, when Super 7 did their reaction series of Pee Wee Herman figures, again based on the Pee Wee's Playhouse. They even had, some of the other characters. Phil Hartman was on, I think he was on the HBO one that was kind of like the Pee Wee Playhouse. He might have been on the Pee Wee Playhouse also, but him and Paul Reubens and Phil Hartman worked a lot together. I think actually Phil Hartman, he's in Pee Wee's Big Adventure, and I think he actually wrote some of it too. I'm not really sure about that. I forgot to talk about Big Top Pee Wee. Let's not talk about Big Top Pee Wee. Didn't really hold up for a sequel. Now, I know he did a third movie not too long ago on Netflix, and I remember watching it, I think it was okay, but anyway, let's move on to get back to these toys here. So Super 7 did these figures here, and they look decent. Well, I'll be honest, to me, the Pee Wee figure looks more like a generic James Bond figure or something. I don't know what was going on with that. Then you had, of course, Funko that makes everything. Funko made a Funko Pop based on a couple of the Playhouse characters, Pee Wee and some others. And then you had NECA, who took the 80s figures, repackaged them, redid them, and they look just a lot like the ones from the 80s, almost identical. Even the package even still says Matchbox on it. But let's talk about the 80s Matchbox figures. They went crazy with these figures and made a dang cool playset. I was at a toy show probably in the early 2000s, or it might have been I think it was actually the mid-90s. And it was the last day, somebody was packing up, and the guy had the playset and all the figures, and he wanted something like $200 for it. And the last day, I kept looking by, and he's like, look, you give me $75, I don't got to pack this thing up, you can have it. And I turned him down. What was wrong with me? I wish I bought it now. It's a playset and everything. But let's dig into some of these figures. First up, we have Cherry. That's right, a velvet chair with a mouth on it. Who ever thought you would buy an action figure of a chair? And then there was Cowboy Curtis. Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne was on Pee Wee's Playhouse, and he played Cowboy Curtis. And then there was King of Cartoons. And it often made me wonder, was there a Queen of Cartoons? I can't remember that. But here he is with his crown. And there was Miss Uvana. Pee Wee loved Miss Uvana, but who didn't? Here she is right here in her little poodle skirt. And of course, there was Pee Wee Herman. And as you can see, it looks a lot like Pee Wee Herman. They did a really good job with this figure. There was also a 2-pack that came with a Pee Wee Herman with a scooter. And rounding out the figures was Reba. No, that's not Reba McEntire. And Ricardo. Honestly, I don't remember this character or this figure. Also in the set was a couple of minifigures. There was Globey and Randy. That's right, a Globe and a wise talking Randy. Gemini the Genie and Puppet Land Band. Also in the series was some wind-up toys. It was his robot, Kanki. There was Magic Screen. And it was his pet pterodactyl, Terry. Now those figures look great. And it always disappointed me that every time they made toys based on Pee Wee Herman, it was always based on the Playhouse. I would love a figure based on actually the movie. Why wouldn't they done more in the movie? A toy line with all the great characters from the movie would have been great. NECA could have gave us a Pee Wee and a bicycle. I don't know why they haven't done that. I think that would sell really good. If you have Pee Wee, his bicycle from the movie, and it comes with a Pee Wee figure, you don't even need a full line. Right there, NECA or someone, more of a collector's group, one aim more for collectors, I think that would sell really good. Come on, NECA, get on the ball. But let's get back to Matchbox, because they did more than the small figures. They did some large figures also. There was the large Cherry, and the pet pterodactyl, Terry. And they also released a talking Pee Wee Herman doll, where you just pull the string and you could have Pee Wee Herman talk. If you wanted to be a ventriloquist, you could get 2 dolls. Of course, there was Pee Wee Herman right here. But they also did Billy Baloney. This thing is creepy looking. This looks like a type of doll that would come out of your closet at night while you're trying to sleep. So that's a look at the figures and the dolls, I guess. But let's take a look at that playset, because that playset's pretty darn cool. First, let's look at the box. It has a lovable little kid with his hair all slicked back right there playing with the playset. Looking at the playset out of the box, it looks a lot like the TV set. If you were a fan of the TV show, you would have loved this thing. It's especially when you had all the figures and accessories to put in it. It did come with the Pee Wee Herman scooter in case you didn't want to buy the 2-pack. It also came with the pop-up floor, his robot friends with hands that would turn, Mr. Window with a mouth that moved, dancing flower that can really dance, a working front door, fridge, and swinging wall. It also included an Allen couch, TV console, kitchen table, and bench. It even would fold up for easy carry. The playset doesn't get much love. When people talk about the coolest playsets of the 80s, they rarely bring up this playset. But it was awesome. It was cool. Again, I didn't have it as a kid. I only saw it as a collector. I fell in love with it then. I don't know why I didn't buy it when I had the chance. But Matchbox did a pretty good line. Again, I wish someone would make figures based on the movie, but until then, this is the best we're going to get. Now, again, growing up, I love Pee Wee's Big Adventure. Not going to talk about Big Top Pee Wee. If you like it, that's okay. Let's move on. But Pee Wee Herman was always something you knew would bring a smile to your face. If it was the more HBO, more risky show, if it was one of his movies, even Big Top Pee Wee, you know you're going to get at least a couple of laughs out of it. Playhouse, you're going to get laughed. If he was just doing his routine, if you saw him on Letterman, or if you saw him on Johnny Carson, you saw him somewhere, you knew it was going to make you laugh. You were going to have a good time. And like I said, even when he wasn't Pee Wee Herman, most of the time when he showed up, you were so excited to see him, it made it better. Even if whatever you're watching wasn't that good, Paul Reubens comes on, oh, it makes you all excited. Anyway, I just figured I had to do a video about Pee Wee Herman, Paul Reubens, because with his passing, it's like part of our childhood is gone, and it seems like every couple of months, a little more pieces of our childhood is just fading off into memory. And sadly, there's gonna be people that grow up in a world without Paul Reubens, without Pee Wee Herman. Luckily, hopefully, good parents will show their kids Pee Wee's Playhouse, Pee Wee's Big Adventure, maybe even Big Top Pee Wee, and some other things along the way. So let's hope he's not forgotten like Soupy Sales. I love Soupy Sales, but nobody ever talks about Soupy Sales anymore. I don't know why. Anyway, let me know in the comments below. Tell me about your love for Pee Wee Herman. And if you got any hate for Paul Reubens or Pee Wee Herman, just leave it. Don't put it in the comment section because it will be deleted. But let me know. When did you fall in love with him? What did you think about the movies? Did you like Big Top Pee Wee? Maybe you thought it was better than the first one. I don't know. But let me know that and more in the comments below. And thank you for watching.
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.